Chemistry chapter 20 video 2 electrolysis. So we have learned about electrolysis in detail in O levels and also in different stages of AS part as well. So in electrolysis, basically what happens is a compound will be decomposed into its elements by an electric current. But this compound has to be an electrolyte. So we have learned what can be an electrolyte. So usually it has to be a liquid, of course, and usually it is an ionic compound. It has to be an ionic compound as well, because that is when the ions would separate, and it has to the ions will be formed at the cathode and the anode. These ions will form their respective elements. Now these processes are used to extract metals in industries. They are used to extract metals. If they are high in the reactivity series, they cannot be separated by heating ores with carbon. So electrolysis is used for that. Then also to electrolysis is used increasingly in vehicle industry to paint and do a lot of things are done using electrolysis. Then also to produce non-metals such as chlorine and purify metals, it is used. Then it is done inside the electrolytic chamber or electrolytic cell. So the main parts of an electrolytic cell would be the electrolyte. Then there should be electrodes depending on what kind of a material we are allowing to undergo electrolysis. We might have an inert electrode like carbon or platinum or something of that sort, or else we would have an electrode which is made up of the metal ion of the compound that we are separating. So it will actually depend on a lot of other factors, but you have to understand that the electrolysis is the process where the two materials are separated. The two ions that make up the ionic material, they are separated. Then there has to be a direct current. The reason why there has to be direct current, because if it is alternating current, then the cathode and anode will alternate without giving any possibility for the metal and the non-metal to form at the cathode and the anode respectively. So then the electrolyte is a compound that is decomposed. It has to be either a molten ionic compound or a concentrated solution of the solutions of ions, right? So it has to be either a solution or molten ionic compounds. Then electrodes are rods made from either carbon, graphite or metal which conduct electricity to and from the electrolyte. Anode is the positive electrode, cathode is the negative electrode. If you have difficulty remembering this, remember always the metal is formed at the cathode. So the metal is positive, so that means positive ions get attracted to the negative electrode. So the cathode is negative electrode. And also this power supply must be direct current. We will write a note on that, and then we will go to the next theory part as well, and after all of them we will answer questions 3 and 4. Please write down electrolysis. Electrolysis is the process where a compound is decomposed into its elements using an electric current. Pause the video and draw figure 20.2, and also write down the three bullet points that are given here in the electrolytic cells, the part that we read, because that is quite important for you to know. Then after you have completed doing that, let's go to next part. Redox reactions in electrolysis. Redox means reduction and oxidation both take place at the same time. Then the positive ions. Positive ions are the ones which go to the cathode and they are known as cations. During electrolysis, the positive ions, cations, move to the cathode. When they reach the cathode, they gain electrons. Why do they get attracted to the cathode? Because there are electrons there, because their positive ions get attracted to the negative electrons. So as a result, they will gain the electrons there and they will become the metal. Now Cu2 plus will gain 2 electrons to become copper. But hydrogen is not a metal, but still it is considered, it has metallic properties. So as a result, it gains 2 electrons to become hydrogen. So gain of electrons is reduction. Therefore, reduction always occurs at the cathode. The metal ions, if they are formed, they can be deposited on the cathode, or else it can actually, it can become a layer on the in the cell as well. So if there is a if it is molten, it can form a layer. And also if hydrogen gas is produced, as more often you will realize that hydrogen gas is produced in many occasions. So this hydrogen gas will bubble off. Then the anions, they are the negative ions. They move to the anode, and when they reach the anode, they lose electrons to the anode. So they give away the electrons and become their respective elemental form. So 2Cl minus will give away its 2 electrons and will produce chlorine. 4OH minus will become oxygen and water, giving away 4 electrons. And this oxidation is the loss of electrons. So oxidation will always take place at the anode. So these two are very, very important points. Oxidation takes place at the anode and reduction takes place at the cathode. Because reduction and oxidation both take place at the same time, electrolysis is a redox reaction, because reduction and oxidation both needs to happen simultaneously. For example, when molten zinc chloride is electrolyzed, what happens is, zinc is the metal. Obviously, zinc will have to go to the cathode. Zinc will go to the cathode, obtain 2 electrons and will become zinc. Because it is gaining electrons, it is reduction. Then 2Cl minus, that will be the negative ions, or the anion will go to the anode to give away its electrons, and it will give away the electrons and will become Cl minus. Because it is losing electrons, its loss of electrons is oxidation. I hope you understood, and if you understood everything really well, please do question number 3 and 4.